Hey everybody, Not Nathan here, back with another video, and today we are going to be unboxing something a little bit different. This is the Netgear GS116NA. This is a 16 port gigabit switch that I got a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to be getting, the reason I bought this was for an upcoming LAN party I have coming up here. That, you know, the number of people that have been attending the party has increased exponentially over the years, and so now the old 8-port Netgear switch that I've had in the past is no longer meeting those needs, and so now I just decided to jump up to a 16-port gigabit switch, and so then it's, you know, it should be future-proofed for at least a couple of years here. If the parties get beyond 15 other people besides myself, you know, I might need to start looking at a different venue. So without any further ado, let's get to the unboxing. Alright, on to the unboxing part. So we, of course, need our little handy dandy knife here. My little version of the bat knife, so it's not quite as cool as Barnacle-Y's. So get that plastic wrap off the box. And so some of the features of this switch is allows plug and play onto any of the interfaces, so you don't have to do any sort of configuration on any of the ports like you would with a higher end Cisco switch or something like that, or HP Pro Curve. So auto uplink port as well. What that means is, so the uplink is used for direct communication to your router. And so this is saying that there is no specific port you have to use in order to get the uplink to work. So if you want to use port 1 or use port 16 or port 10 or whatever port number you want to use, you can go ahead and do that. And so it's kind of a nice perk for you know, depending on position of where the cable is coming from. Sometimes it's closer and easier to plug into port 1 from where the Ethernet cable is coming from. Sometimes it's easier to plug in the port 16. Not necessarily certain of what kind of situation you would plug into one of these other ports, but I guess the option's available if you need to. So to kind of talk about what comes in the box, obviously you've got your little AC adapter for powering it. You've got your reference guide, warranty information, and I know sometimes these switches and Netgear products come with like a poster of some sort, which kind of like catalogs. Holy crap, this is a big poster. Holy Jesus. This is a lot of information. If I can find a PDF file of this poster, I'll put a link to that in the description, but it's basically just a poster that kind of explains all the different products that Netgear sells, like all the different switches, kind of goes through the rundown of what you get with each of them, you know, to help you decide which one is best. But it's kind of interesting they send you this with this switch, because I mean, you kind of made the decision of which switch you're gonna buy already, because I just bought the switch. But I guess in the future, if you have other needs to address, I mean, you've got that. And I know I didn't fold that the proper way, but whatever, I don't give a crap. Other than that, you get get a couple of screws along with some 3M tape. This is some more wall mounting kits, because on the back side you have 2 mounting points here and here. That would be to mount it on the wall or something like that. Now, the thing to note with this particular switch is that it is not rack mountable. There is a version of that Netgear sells, and so I'll have the link to that in the description if you're more interested in looking for a rack mount version of this switch. They do make those. They also make this switch in for this desktop model one, is what they call it, is they release in 5-port, 8-port, 16-port, and 24, and I believe there might be a 48-port of this one as well. But from the desktop part, it usually goes up to maybe 16 or 24. once you get beyond that, usually goes into more of the rack mount style of switches. Now this thing says it supports it supports the QoS quality of service. It probably just auto detects what the router is telling it, that hey, this particular MAC address or this IP address or whatever device it is, we want them to have higher bandwidth, and we want this other one to have less. But there is no console port anywhere on this switch, so don't expect to be buying this with the hopes of that you're gonna be able to configure it instead of VLANs and what have you, like that. If you're gonna be doing stuff like that, I would invest probably more in some of the Cisco, like some of the entry-level Cisco switches that have a console port on the back or somewhere on the device. And so let's see here. Interestingly enough, looking on the online site, the picture actually doesn't really look exactly how the switch does, because there's actually, in the pictures, actually gaps in between like each of these, like every 4 switches. So it kind of looks like they took like four port switches and just glued them all together, made one big chassis, and said, here you go, have a 16 port switch. But this one actually looks like it's more genuine. Now Netgear also offers a unmanaged plus a version of this switch, which is supposed to allow things like VLANs and different routing protocols and stuff like that. I honestly haven't looked into it too in depth because I haven't used it myself, and there's no console port on that either, so I'm not entirely sure how you configure that. But links to this switch will be down in the description. So to recap, just some pros and cons of this particular switch. I'd say some of the pros is it's pretty cheap as of recording this video. You can get on Amazon for about $85, give or take. So for a home or small business, like some place that doesn't really need any fancy configuration done on the switch, I think this is an excellent buy, because it's plug and play. You plug in the power, you run your Ethernet cable that comes from the router, plug it directly into any of these ports as you wish, and boom, it's ready to go. You can plug in as many other clients, fill up all the ports, and it will work perfectly. And so I think that's really cool. Another pro, like, this is Gigabit, so each of these ports all support 1 gigabit connection speed, whereas some other switches will only still do base 100. Now, for a lot of ways, that might not be a bad thing, because if you don't really have any applications or servers that need high bandwidth traffic, you may not necessarily need the full gigabit. But because this is going to be used for a LAN party switch, that's pretty much all this switch is going to get used for. I'd say I like to have that connection, because some of the games are going to be, like just LAN based clients use, so there's no need to use the internet, so you want the fastest connection speed when connecting to your other hosts and stuff like that. So I guess the cons for this is that that if you are a networking specialist that wants to have a lot more configuration choices in your switch, this probably isn't the one for you if you want to be able to set up VLANs and stuff like that. But like I said, this is more, and if you're looking for the rack mount one, this one will not work for you. This is the desktop version, not the rack mount one. There is a rack mount one for that has a 16 port switch that Netgear creates. That's going to cost you around $150, so it is a little bit of a price increase, but it's still cheaper than buying most Cisco products if you don't need any special configuration. And so I think that's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you think of the video down in the comment section below. I'm always curious of what your thoughts are. And if you have any questions regarding the switch, feel free to let me know down in the comment section below. I'll be happy to try and answer any questions that I can. And so, as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!